morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. Delighted to have you with us on this beautiful Monday morning, and hope everybody's doing well. We thank our sponsors, Oak Mountain Academy and Tanner Health System. Last week we had the 2025 Citizen of the Year, Dr. Joe Parrish. And this year we have the 2023 Citizen of the Year, Tim Martin. So welcome, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Those are big shoes to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dr. Joe probably deserves a lot more than I do.
Yeah, well, he has delivered 8,000 babies.
Absolutely.
I'm not even going to ask you how many babies you've delivered, so we'll just jump into it. Tim Martin began his career at Carroll EMC in 1987 as a part-time co-op student while pursuing his Bachelor of Industrial Engineering from the #1 Georgia Institute of Technology. After graduation, he worked several years in manufacturing before returning to the electric cooperative world. Since then, Tim has earned his Master of Business Administration from the University of West Georgia. For a short time, headed key operations at Rappahannock, is that right?
That's correct, Rappahannock.
Rappahannock Electric Cooperative in Virginia. In addition to his role as President and CEO, Tim is a member of the Carrollton Rotary and Carrollton Kiwanis Club. Are you still chair of the Tanner Medical Foundation?
I'm not.
Okay, but you served as chair.
Yes, I'm past chair now, so that's the best job.
Yeah, exactly. Rearview mirror. Board member for the Georgia Energy Credit Union and past chair for the Georgia Rural Electrical Managers Association. Tim is also a deacon at First Baptist Church Carrollton, where he attends with his wife, Shelley. Well, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
I'm really pleased to have you in because for some reason, I find these data centers to be interesting. And as far as I know, all I know is that Villa Rica has approved a data center in Villa Rica, in the Villa Rica area, and it's being challenged in court. But I think the thing that got my attention was it seems like in more than one source, they say America and the state of Georgia is going to need twice the amount of electricity in order to serve these data centers. Well, that sounds like a problem.
Well, it's certainly a challenge, and of course the one in Villa Rica is Carroll AMC is not serving that. That's going to be served by Georgia Power. We have been contacted by data centers. There's kind of a gold rush right now as people are building data centers. Data centers are not new. They've been around for a long time. When I was in Rappahannock, we served a data center, and our neighbor to the north, Northern Virginia, served a lot of data centers. That was kind of the hub. It was just outside of D.C. in Northern Virginia, and it was a good place to have data centers. What you're seeing now with data centers are things called hyperscalers, so they're much larger data centers. Much, much larger. And so everybody's trying to land the data centers in their state or in their county, their city, because of the tax revenue that comes along with that. There are tax abatements that generally go initially with that, but on the whole, you're going to get some jobs that are high-paying jobs, and you're going to get a lot of tax base there without a lot of strain on your systems, your schools, your fire, things like that.
I want to dig more or deeply into that and those points, but just for simplicity's sake, Data Centers 101.
Sure.
You mentioned Rappahannock. Basically, as chips have evolved, then the computers have evolved, and they can store much more. Basically, when we say something's in the cloud, it's really in the data centers, right?
Absolutely.
And so this is just the evolution of the development of the computer industry and computer chips, and therefore greater storage capability. It's nothing really more than that. Is that right? Is that simplistic or too simplistic?
No, I think that's fair to say. I think, as you mentioned, most things now are stored online. All the pictures on our phones are, are stored online, and as the video. So, when we're recording this on Facebook, it's going to be on the cloud. It's going to be in a data center, and that's how all this works to kind of communicate everything. Now you're getting a little bit out of my expertise because I'm
But still, you mentioned And it seems like from what I read, they're kind of popping up all around Metro Atlanta, but they haven't really popped up in West Georgia other than this Villa Rica one.
Well, there's actually some in Douglas County. I know that Greystone is serving some, Georgia Power, in Rome, down in Fayette County. I was talking to my aunt and uncle. There's a big one being built down there. And just to give you a size of the, to put it in perspective, because our largest load at Carroll MC, we serve 7 counties. We serve 6 counties here in West Georgia. Troop, Hurd, Carroll, Harrelson, Polk, and Paulding, and then we serve 2 customer choice loads in Floyd County. The largest load that we serve is 12 megawatts. That's in Floyd County.
That's pretty large.
It is, but the smallest data center now that has approached us is 100 megawatts. Our total load for our whole system in the wintertime is 330 megawatts. That's our all-time peak. The one unit of Plant Vogel that just got built and took a long time to build and is very expensive, and we're fortunate to have those. Those are going to be a great resource for us, 60, 80 years in the future, was 1,100 megawatts. And so some of these data centers that they're building here in Georgia are going to be 500 megawatts, 750 megawatts, and that's not going to be all at once. It's going to be over a ramp, 5-year period, 10-year period. But these are just things we haven't seen before. So when we're talking about large loads, these are just mega large loads.
So how, back to the question of if we're going to need twice as much electricity capacity, how are we going to accomplish that?
We're going to have to build some additional generation, and it's going to have to be generation that's going to be available all the time, because data centers are on 24/7. They cannot be off. And so what we're talking about is, you've seen the news stories about them starting up 3 Mile Island. Who would have thought that would have ever happened?
Right.
Their coal plants that were planned to close are going to stay open longer,
right?
Which is good. It's good for the grid reliability. It's not a bad thing. But lots of people are focusing on solar and wind. Well, solar and wind is supplemental, but you're going to need additional generation, and right now that's going to come from natural gas. Now, we talked earlier about small modular nuclear reactors. That is, I think, part of our energy future, but it's not ready for prime time right now. There are some being installed in different places. I think there's, I was reading about one that's been installed in Canada. This is technology that's been around for a long time.
Well, you read about France.
Oh, sure.
80% nuclear generation in France. It just seems like we've kind of missed the mark on that.
Yeah, I think we did. I think after 3 Mile Island, there was a fear, and so it really kind of put the nuclear construction in this country on pause. France did a lot of their construction, and not only do they do, they have, like you say, most of their electricity is generated from nuclear, but they also reprocess their nuclear waste and get more energy out of it, so that they have less waste, but it's much more concentrated waste. But Germany, after Fukushima happened, when I was in Virginia, they were planning to expand a nuclear plant there. After Fukushima happened, they canceled it. Well, the last plant, or the first nuclear plant to be built in 30, 40 years, is the one that was built here in Georgia. There was another one that was going to be built in South Carolina, and they stopped it because of the cost overruns and the delays. So I think we should be very proud as Georgians that we stuck with it, that we got it done, because that's a very important part of our energy future.
A lot of cities and counties, zoning boards, et cetera, commissions, councils, are wrestling. They don't know what, they're wrestling with the data centers as to what to do. Is there any reason they should be scared of data centers?
You talking about local counties?
Yeah, zoning boards, councils, commissions, giving permitting, rezoning, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any kind of real reason or reasons for them to be concerned or even scared of data centers?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Steve. I don't.
Okay, time for a break. Okay. So, let's go back then to try to unpack that in terms of it's construction jobs, obviously.
That's right.
And you said they were good paying jobs. If you're monitoring and you're providing technicians to keep the data centers up, it is an economic force to a point.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think, and again, everybody has to look to their own situation, but I think it's a net positive for a community to land a data center. I know we've been approached about serving some, but it's just a matter of finding the generation, and that's been a stumbling block for us. There's just not a lot of excess generation out there.
When we talk about data centers, we often hear the term thrown around about the grid. I assume the grid is nothing more than the transmission system, all the wires and the transformers, et cetera. What's the status of our grid in West Georgia?
Yeah, it's strong. It's very strong. We've got one of the best grids, I think, in the country, and part of it's because it's an integrated transmission system. So as electric cooperative, we own Georgia Transmission, in cooperation with Georgia Power and the munis, the municipalities. They jointly own and operate the transmission grid, and so it's allowed us to be much more efficient in that. And if you look at our cost of transmission, it's a lot lower than around the country. Now, one thing that's happening with transmission is the costs are going up because as we close generation like Plant Wansley and then build new generation, we're building it in places where the load is not there, and so you're having to transmit the energy from like South Georgia up to North Georgia where the load is, and so that's putting more demand. We're having to upgrade our transmission system. So yeah, the cost of transmission is going to go up regardless, just because of increased load and also our change in generation. And one of the things that I heard our CEO of Georgia Transmission, Barbara Hampton, say, she said, used to the generation, you had large generators and smaller loads. Now you've got big loads and smaller generators. Even the small modular nuclear, that's a much smaller nuclear plant than like Plant Vogtle or Plant Hatch.
Before we go to break, we've done a couple of stories Colin has on the proposed battery farm, if you will,
Sure.
down near Roopville. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a part of our energy future, batteries. It's going to be a really important part. We have a plant that Oglethorpe Power owns up above Rome called Rocky Mountain Pumped Hydro, and the way it works is it pumps water up at night when the energy is cheaper, and then during the day it'll release it, and so you're saving some costs, but also helps with grid reliability. These batteries are going to just be mini pumped hydros. They're going to be located all around the state, and they're going to help us to be able to keep our costs lower, to make our grid more reliable. I just think it's really important. We just got to find a way to do it right. But I think, if you look at batteries, the car I'm driving a EV pickup truck right now, GMC. Well, there's in the future, those are going to be pumping energy back to the grid. You're going to be getting energy, so that you can drive it. But then when you need the energy, you're going to have electric utilities that are going to be buying it back, so that you can support the grid. I truly believe that's going to be part of our energy future, and batteries are going to be an important part. A lot of people have batteries in their homes. We have a battery at our office. It's our UPS.
Yeah, everybody has, UPSs on their small computer now. What's the future of battery technology? Are we going to be held hostage for rare earth minerals, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I just went to a conference and they said, well, the rare earths are not so rare. It's just a matter of having the willpower to actually mine them. I think we have a lot of rare earths that are located here in the States, including Alaska, and we just got to be willing to go and get them. And so it's going to take us working together to do that. But yeah, that could be. That's certainly a concern, not just for batteries, but for a lot of technologies. All of our electronics use rare earth elements.
Yeah, it's so true. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more with Tim Martin, CEO of Carroll EMC and the 2023 Carroll County Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. We'll be back with more after this.
Consider the Mobius strip. Take a strip of paper, twist it, connect the ends. This connection forms a continuous loop, seamless, infinite. That's how your healthcare should be too. At Tanner Health, the Mobius is our symbol and our promise, representing our continuum of care and our commitment that the services you need will be here for you always. We're not just changing healthcare, we're redefining it. See more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. We've got Tim Martin in the studio, CEO of Carroll EMC. One of the big deals over the last several years has been talked about running fiber in the West Georgia area, and y'all, part of y'all's outreach is something called Crossbeam. Where are you now with that? And give us an update.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we talked about this the last time I was here. We're making really good progress. As you know, we're partnering with a local telecom, Sync Global Telecom.
We're actually doing our thing this morning through Sync Global. So
Okay.
Shout out to Sync Global.
Yeah, they're a great partner. They've done everything that they said they were going to do. We're not broadband experts, so we're building a joint fiber network. Carroll EMC is going to own most of this fiber network. We're spending millions of dollars to do this and to get broadband out to our members. But it's also going to be a private communication network that we're going to be able to use to actually talk to all the devices in the field, our substations, a lot of equipment that we have, distribution automation, but also ultimately our next generation of meters. Right now we talk to our meters over the power lines, but we'll be able to talk to them using our fiber network. So it's an important part of our future. As far as the broadband project, it's going great. We're getting good take rates. One of the things that you'll notice with Crossbeam is they don't play any games with their pricing, and they deliver on service. So they don't have the introductory prices. It's the price stays the same. The only thing they've done since they've started in 2021 offering this service is actually decrease their prices. And I know my provider just went $20 a month, because the promotion ran off. I don't have access to Crossbeam at my house.
Next year it'll go up another 20. I know how that works. Yeah.
But I will say also that, we're in this for the long run, and we believe that the service of our joint companies are going to.
Well, Sync Global's local.
Absolutely. They hire local. They buy local. We're buying our fiber from a local manufacturer here, OFS.
OSF, yeah. And this also meshes with the heritage of Carroll EMC,
Absolutely.
serving the rural community, because the farmers need broadband too.
Absolutely, and I really think that's why our board was so interested in actually, they're the ones that were behind this. We have a 9-member board of directors elected by our members as a not-for-profit cooperative. And when I came back 10 plus years ago, they said this is one of your goals, beyond all your other duties, is find some way to help get broadband to our members. We had the existing companies that are all of a sudden are interested in serving West Georgia. They weren't doing anything. They weren't doing anything for 20 years. And so when we got involved, all of a sudden they tried to find out where we're going. So we're actually going to be starting phase 3 later this year, but we're not going to say exactly where it is because we're going to announce it as we turn up the service.
It is kind of funny. They became competitive once you jumped in.
That's exactly right.
I mean, they weren't to that point.
No.
Yeah, and
but we hope people will choose us. So it is Crossbeam. That's their residential brand, but it's powered by Carroll EMC. And like I said, we're working closely together. It's a revenue share model. So we're expending, like I said, lots of money to build out this network. One of the things I also want to do is give a shout out to our counties that have supported us with tax abatement. So Heard County and Haralson County and Paulding County just has. So that's been very helpful because the costs are all up front and the revenue comes over time. And so those tax abatements on new facilities have been very, very helpful.
Yeah, and that's been really kind of the big stumbling block is the costs are up front.
Absolutely.
And
as a not-for-profit, we're able to look at a 20-year, 30-year payback where, you're talking about somebody that's a Fortune 500 company. They're looking at quarterly revenues, and so that's why they didn't do anything. But yeah.
I want to change gears real quick. I'd like to touch on this before we go to our next break, which is coming right up. But as radio stations focus more and more on severe weather, and you also get the you build the respect for the linemen,
absolutely,
the people who are out there during storms, and you're not going to get me to climb a pole and touch any kind of the transformer or the wires up there, even particularly in a storm-related condition. Tell us about the career as a Carroll EMC lineman.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you're asking about them. They're truly kind of the rock stars of the electric utility world, the cowboys. I mean, it takes a special person to be a lineman, to go out and work in the weather conditions they do, in the dark. When it's lightning, when trees are falling, they're out there working. And safety is our top priority. I mean, that's something we emphasize, and it's really because of the work that we do. It's hazardous. I'm really proud of our linemen. We've got great linemen. This has been a rough year. I mean, it has been the stormiest year I can remember from beginning to right now. It started kind of in January. We had that snow ice storm, but we've just had every weekend, it seems like we've had a storm, and our guys have showed up. They come in, they work hard. We have, you probably know this, but we offer lineman scholarships.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the training, because I mean, obviously nobody can just climb that and do this.
No, exactly. So I mean, we used to hire our apprentice linemen from our meter readers. So they'd kind of prove themselves as meter readers. They learn about our system. They would actually learn about Carroll EMC, our members, and how that type of thing. And then they would go into the lineman program. Now we don't have meter readers because we're reading meters over the power line. So we are actually typically hiring people that have been to lineman school and have some experience with a contractor. Now we have hired some, like we've had some student employees that worked in our warehouse that we've hired as linemen. We really try to grow our own. We have some great training through Georgia EMC, apprentice training and then of course we have on-the-job training. So it takes right now you're 5 years an apprentice, 5 years as a lineman before you become a journeyman lineman, and so it's you can't rush that. I mean, we are looking at ways to shorten that time period because the need is so great. I mean, it's just like any jobs. I mean, you've got people retiring, so we're having linemen retiring, but we haven't had any problems hiring linemen. I know in other parts of the state, like South Georgia, they've had problems hiring linemen, but I think because of our culture, we really haven't had a problem. But yeah, they're the heroes, but every job, and I've said this to our employees, every job at Carroll EMC is important, but it's kind of like, on a football team, you've got your lineman, you've got your kicker, these are like your wide receivers and your run backs, they're the ones that are out there making it happen, it takes all of us to make it work, and we've got a great team at Carroll EMC. We're
going to take a break. We'll be back with more with Tim Martin, CEO of Carroll EMC, after these words.
Consider the Mobius strip. Take a strip of paper, twist it, connect the ends. This connection forms a continuous loop. Seamless, infinite. That's how your healthcare should be too. At Tanner Health, the Mobius is our symbol and our promise, representing our continuum of care and our commitment that the services you need will be here for you always. We're not just changing healthcare, we're redefining it. See more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
Good morning. Welcome back to Community Voice. I'm Steve Gradick, your host. We're delighted to have Tim Martins, CEO of Carroll EMC. It's always the dutiful thing to do is to Carroll EMC is member owned.
That's right.
What in the world does that mean?
It means that we're a cooperative. That's what a cooperative is. We're owned by our members. There's 7 cooperative principles, and that's one of them that we're every member has a vote. We have an annual meeting once a year. That's in October, the first Thursday in October. I would encourage all of our members to come. We have a business meeting, but we also have RC hot dogs, and we give away a used truck or SUV to one lucky member. But essentially, our members are the people that buy power from us.
So basically, your customers are also your members.
Our customers are members. We call them members because it helps us stay focused on why we're there, and that's to serve. That's why we're there, is to serve. And we talk about that. We've got a volunteer program called Together We Serve. We really try to emphasize that, and our employees really get it. But yeah, we don't have shareholders. Our members are our shareholders, and that's why when we give out capital credit checks, that is money that we've collected in the past that we're returning to our members, they're our shareholders.
I think I enjoy that the most when I get those. Those are really nice.
Yes.
Keep sending them, by the way.
Okay.
But I think that's important because, we're on WLBB, and Bob Tysinger, Robert Tysinger had a major role in creating this radio station. And he also brought about rural electrification to the rural areas of Carroll EMC.
Absolutely. And you probably know our community center at Carroll EMC is named after him. He was a true pioneer. Not only was he involved in starting Carroll EMC, he was one of the founders, but also in starting Georgia EMC and the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. So, I mean, he was a true leader in our industry.
Since you were here last, we lost 2 members of the Carroll EMC family. Gary Bullock, who was also CEO. I got to interview a dozen or more times when I was running around as a reporter. And then, of course, our good friend, the one and the only Max Golden.
Absolutely.
And so they're gone, and we're going to miss them a good long time.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you mentioning that. I mean, obviously those were 2 leaders at Carroll EMC, and they're truly going to be missed. Gary was there when I was hired as a co-op student. Mm-hmm. Back then, everybody that was hired had to meet the CEO before they were hired, and I don't do that, but Gary did. So I remember meeting. I was scared. And then Max, I learned so much from Max. I learned a lot about politics from Max, but I learned a lot about common sense too. He
was the first one to take me to the state capitol for a tour, and
he probably introduced you to about 100 people.
Wayne Shackelford, baby, head of the DOT.
Absolutely.
We sat in on the meeting. He was cool, but we missed both, and they're both great gentlemen. Well, thank you for coming in. Thank you for talking about data centers, and I know we're all going to learn more about data centers as time goes on. So. Again, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
And thank you for all you do. And we also want to thank our sponsors, Oak Mountain Academy and Tanner Health System. Go out and make it a great day. You're in tune to WLBB Carrollton.